great weekend, and this is the 1st of August in real life, and we're in the turn of 18, the 19th of October 1941. And as you can see here, the next week it looks like there will be mixed heavy mud, but it's exactly the same ground condition as this week, so I'm not sure how much this is going to change. I mentioned this before, but there are two high pressure fronts moving in here, which I believe is the reason for the rain to go back from heavy rain to light rain. So I don't expect the mud to last more than maybe 1 week, probably 2 weeks. The next week we'll see some heavy mud, but I'm not familiar with if this spread out heavy mud is as heavy as it gets, or if you can see the entire ground covered with heavy mud all over, to be honest. But definitely this turn the heavy mud has helped me. Don't think I'm gonna mention we're at 4.1 million men on the map. Let me see here if I just show you where this turn ends. I think this is the way you do it. So we got active 4.1 million, 55,000 artillery, and over 10k armored fighting vehicles. So I'm very happy with that. That's probably a little bit better than you can expect in a full human game. On the other hand, the Germans haven't really suffered immense losses. Over 500,000, sure, 1,700 tanks, fine, not a lot of guns. But what gives me hope for the AI in future turns is actually the saved up German manpower pool. I don't know how the German AI has been able to save this amount of... Is he disbanding troops? Because surely his available troops on map and off map has decreased, but he definitely, you know, with 1.2 he can easily replace all the current losses of his Eastern Front army. So my expectation is that he has suffered attritional losses and they have not been replaced yet on the front. That makes his German army on the front weak now, but it can be replenished. And AFVs are going down. We see for the first time the total amount of German tanks under 6,000, and on the map he's down to 3.6 thousand. So sure, the German army is being ground down on the eastern front, but I'd say, oh, can you see how many German tanks are in the replacement pool now? I think you cannot. Yeah, you can probably cheat and check out how many. Soviet Union. Alright, I can't show the German production here, so I don't know how many reserve tanks the Germans have. Anyways, I wasn't gonna talk that much about the full thing. So over up in Leningrad, I have been forced to downgrade this fort hex here to level 3. It's not gonna increase because I had to disband the fort inside it and have 3 infantry divisions, because otherwise I was afraid I was going to lose this hex. So this won't increase. I did insert a railroad brigade, which was probably a mistake to take. You can take up the Leningrad fort from level 4 to level 5. The manual states that you can never build a level 5 fort. That is incorrect, I believe. Okay, we're only at 4.66%. 0.6%, so I can't really confirm this, but I believe Leningrad can be built up to level 5, just like Sevastopol and Oranienbaum. We're gonna check that out. I should probably have kept the 3rd Railroad Construction Brigade on the map because it was repairing rails into Voronezh. I made a mistake there placing it in here, but it is what it is. I wasn't gonna go back to a previous save just because of that. I can fix that. We see this. I moved up into a light forest hex here, and we are now up to level 1 fort and a 22 defensive value. So I think I'm going to be able to keep that with the heavy mud. The Germans are not going to be able to attack. I do move up 1 hex here with a single division to the river into heavy woods in mud terrain. Okay, here you have it 11. Okay, we'll see if I get thrown back, but I'm recapturing a bit of terrain in Leningrad. Overall, this sector of the front is in good shape. Now, the northwestern front is in much worse shape and has been. If you compare the line that the northwestern front is defending is kind of all the way up here, and it's like half the strength of the Leningrad front. So that should tell you something. And we do have a single cavalry division that is going to get eliminated. It is what it is. This turn I promoted a new general in the 20th Army, General Galitsky, and he's a 5.0, so he gets the red, bright red 5 or above leader skill average color. So he was upgraded from a green 3.7 or something leader. So this is gonna help a lot with the defenses in this sector here, where I was kind of weak. But I believe I've stabilized with the mud the Rzew direction of the German attacks for now. However, further west, it's looking a little bit shaky, but the weather and the terrain and some newly arrived reinforcements have kind of stabilized. It's looking better in this sector here, to be honest, in front of my main supply depot with the fort here that I want to... This is the main hex I want to hold in this sector. And then we have kind of a skirmish line here, and then we have another army defending this bend up here. We'll see what the Germans have been pushing me very heavily, but now with mud, maybe I can get a bit of respite. I don't have any reinforcements coming in because I guess I don't have many reinforcements to send that are coming out of the reserve pool right now. If I do, it would be stuff on rail here coming from off map that I'm railing in from where it arrives. Scripted reinforcements from, is it Kazan? Where do they enter? It doesn't matter. But anyway, I have quite a few units on rail that I could send over here to the northwestern front. It's looking, I'd say, a little bit less disastrous than it has done for a couple of weeks here. And I think the weather is going to help me greatly. Okay, moving on. The western front is strong as ever, and there hasn't been a lot of combat in this sector, has it? Yeah, you can see here we had a bunch of German attacks in the northwestern front sector, but very few in the Moscow sector, and a few here over at Ryazan. But there was a breakthrough. I'll show you in this hex here, and I had to use a motorized security division NKVD and send it in to reoccupy this hex. I do believe, no, unfortunately on the other side of the river there's only light mud and not heavy mud, and heavy mud, attacking out of heavy mud takes down your combat values very substantially. So we could still see another push here, and of course I don't want a motorized division to get banged up in defense, but it's light forest, it is a major river, and it is light mud, and it is heavy rain. So I'm hoping it will hold so that we can settle the river line here. And next week we have a full far eastern size 15,000 strong division that can plug the gap. It's on train still, but we do have reinforcement coming to the Moscow front here. And north of that we are gathering up, it should be about the size of a full tank army of 8-9 tank divisions. So we're gonna upgrade an army headquarters with a mech leader and have them gather combat preparation for when the mud is over and snow starts falling, and then we're gonna try to launch a counteroffensive in case the Germans cross the river here. At least that's the plan. I avoided doing any other counterattacks in this sector because of the mud, of course. Alright, so let's eliminate that. Right, yeah, I had a weak division that had to fall back here. I have a full size 15k 14th Rifle Division sitting here being prepared. Maybe I should just show you where I have strong reinforcing division. I have 2 strong divisions in this hex here. If I haven't marked them, it is trash. Okay, I have 2 strong divisions inside Ryazan. So these are kind of my local counter offensive reserve, and that's about what I got. Right. And I even have established some sort of semblance of defensive sector here in front of, what is it, Tambov. So we're doing okay in this sector of the front. And my green 42nd Army is kind of pushing westwards now. I'm actually advancing a bit from sitting around here. I have moved up and fully started to fortify this river line. So I am recapturing a bit of ground here in preparation for the winter offensive. And we have more cavalry joining from behind. And here, back here, we have 2 elite divisions building forts in Tambov. I'm gonna use them during the winter offensive. See that they have nearly 15,000 men each. I don't want them to sit and grind and suffer attrition on the front lines. Yeah, the Lipetsk sector is stable. I stabilized the Voronezh sector. Did we have any? Yeah, because the Germans didn't attack here this turn. So I had a respite and I managed to get in a strong division next to Lipetsk here. The 92nd Rifle Division has 18,000 men, and so I have one strong division here, and I have another strong division sitting behind Voronezh that I can move into this hex here. So I do believe kind of the push across the Voronezh sector river is being, due to the weather and arriving reinforcements, I think it's kind of over for now. So one of my main concerns this turn, oh yeah, sorry, I'll show you, I messed up. I railed in my 1 railroad repair unit, the first NKPS here, because I was under the impression that I would need to repair these yellow hexes to get supplies flowing into Ryazan, because I got zero supplies on the supply depot in Ryazan. But then I realized that yellow probably means zone of control intercepted. You can't rail supply and stuff there, but it's not broken. It has to be red and occupied like these 2 hexes for it to railroads to be broken and repaired. So I should have railed in this repair unit somewhere else, and I'll show you. It's down by Voronezh. And at Voronezh, oh right, of course, there was a German tank regiment that suicided up here many weeks ago. And also we had a German offensive crossing the river, pushing us back. So we have a lot of broken railroad hexes around Voronezh, which means there is no supply entering into Voronezh itself. Now, I am a bit confused about the supply rules. Sometimes I see rail go next to German units in zone of control and entering supply depots next to a German unit, and you get some, but often there's just 0 coming in. So I don't quite know how detrimental zone of controls are for supply deliveries in the game. What I can tell you is very often they seem to stop it altogether, but I'm a little bit rusty. So I need to rail down the rail repair unit down here, and the railroad repair brigade that was sent out automatically from Stavka, I sent to Leningrad, as I said before. It was going to repair one of these hexes up here. It would have been much more useful than building a fort in Moscow, but I didn't realize you could take it from the map and order it through Stavka into a fort zone. So I need to pay attention. Somehow we've gotten like 34 rail repair brigades as reinforcements, and most of them are sitting in the Soviet reserve pool and refitting and training now. I mean, I can live without having a railroad supply into Voronezh, not until I perform an offensive out of Voronezh. You know, I have other depots taking care of it, but it's a bit wasteful of trucks, I suppose, in the long run. But I kind of have messed up. I far from perfectly play the rail repair game. You don't do it a lot as the Soviets. Not until now, I suppose. Anyways, I think it's very good news that the Voronezh front sector is stabilized like this. But I had worries about the newly promoted area of the 43rd Army under General Feduyensky, The week before he was promoted a red 5.2 average leader, and now I decided to advance out of the river line and take up this light forest hex here, because I don't want the Germans to reach this vital railroad line here and break it. I mean, this line north of Voronezh, it's already broken, so I don't care about it. So that meant that I railed in one strong mountain cavalry division of over 7,000 mounted troops, and along with two smaller brigade-sized divisions, I moved up into this hex, and we have a nice 11 defensive value. Unfortunately, we only have heavy mud in... oh, this hex is actually clear. And so is this one. Okay, that's very unfortunate. So that means we could see heavy attacks here. Although I only see badly supplied infantry regiments right now. And I know for a fact that the Germans, they performed a very heavy offensive in the Belgorod sector at the beginning of this week. So I would hope that most of their offensive forces have been spent in this sector here, and that there are few available for a push against this new vital cross-river defensive position. That's a lot of yapping of a micromanagement position, but I feel very happy. I feel it's kind of a fun thing that I take a bridgehead to protect the rail line behind it. It's kind of a light role-playing sector here. I do have 3 small divisions moving up from the being deployed off map here, that are gonna take the place of tanks and cavalry around this sector here, because this part of the sector is just a mess. It is in horrible shape. It's just very bad, and the reason for that is this. I'll show you. Look at that. Do you understand why I'm not in great shape? If you see these all these attacks, you can understand why I'm in a disastrous position around Kharkov. And I decided to move out of Kharkov with one infantry division, and I moved one hex eastwards with these 2 very tired, unready rifle divisions. I suspect the German AI is going to isolate this division, and it's not going to get out. But I'll do what I can to save as many troops as possible in this sector. However, a little bit further south, we are kind of, building up a fairly strong defensive force. Terrain doesn't benefit us, but we do have the weather helping us out. And there were a few failed attacks here, and this part of the sector is in better shape. But that just means that there is this huge gap in the line. That's why I have 3 cavalry divisions railing in from far east and reinforcements far off there. I have 3 cavalry divisions here that I want to use to kind of plug this gap here. So this part of the front is okay, but here, this sector here, it's just terrible. I'm sacrificing a single Soviet division here and hoping that the heavy mud is going to slow down the Germans. So down here, the elite 4th Army under the command of Vatutin has very nice combat stats. They've won 15 battles and only lost 26. It might not sound impressive, but at this stage of the war, as the Soviets, it actually is. This is very good combat odds. And if you check out this army, you can see that it has some immense morale values, all the way from 72 down to, you have to go all the way down here to be, they have very nice experience and morale values on artillery, light tank battalions, and rifle divisions. So this could be the strongest elite army in the entire Soviet army, in the Red Army. And we do have very nice win ratios here, 10 wins on the 130th Rifle Division, so it must be promoted to guards. I'm kind of surprised it hasn't been promoted yet, but I'm just waiting for it to tick over. Alright, so there you are. And this army made the one single counterattack this turn, and I had to move up 5 different infantry divisions with a combined strength of 65,000 men, and I attacked this 16th Panzer Division. It's an entire division. It only lost 1 single tank, and we lost 10, but we managed to make a German Panzer Division to rout with a 41-1 attack. I'm very happy about that, and as you can see, we have German air support in this sector, which is kind of surprising because the Luftwaffe has been silent for such a long time. But they are on map and they are operating. So of course I'm happy with a rout of a full German Panzer Division, and it went back all the way from here to back here, as you can see. So the 16th Panzer Division, it won't be bothering us for a long time, not with any strength at least. And the weather now has allowed us to kind of establish a nice line here. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. These hexes have strong defense, right? But yeah, I had to reoccupy this hex here with 2 infantry division. I moved up 3, fairly tired, fairly weak Soviet infantry divisions here, and I have weak forces in some other sectors here as well. And I can only hope that the weather, I am lucky because there are, is there a brown paint? There is not. This is as brown as it gets. I'm very lucky that there is heavy mud in this entire sector here. I think so. It's gonna be hard for the Germans to perform more attacks now because of the weather. No, the ground conditions. But then further south, I know this is gonna get very messy. Further south we have light mud, so we might see attacks on the southern sector of this Salino fort line. But on the other hand, I have very much stronger defenses in that sector. All right, that's a lot of colors, but I like the little epic pen. Yeah, sooner or later, I would like to upgrade the leadership of the 18th Army. It's only a 3.5 average general. He's really bad, but I'm hoping there won't be any fighting here this week from the German side. I've performed a lot of counterattacks and weakened his forces around this sector here. And I moved up the 1st Guard Division here now and attached a tank brigade to it. It only has a handful of tanks right now, but I'm hoping it will refit and get stronger, and I can use it as a counterattack force sooner or later. What else is there to say? Oh yeah, I built a city fort in Genicek, and I now have 48,000 defenders inside this city. It's only a 53 defense factor, and 55 here and 57 here. So I've gone down from 70 defense, and that is because the fort levels have been ground down. I'm only down to level 2 fort in the port itself. That's why I had to invest and send in like 5 divisions here. But I need to check the... Yeah, that's unfortunate. As you can see here, we even have clear hexes and light... Oh, they're all clear. Light mud in the swamps here. But we could see further attacks. So I think it was a good thing that I reinforced Genicek this turn. I think that's about it, to be honest. What else did I invest in? 1 leader and 1 fort, and I set up a new... I can't remember, where the hell did it go? I set up a new depot somewhere, And oh right, I built a fort in Tambov because it has reached its maximum level of 3.10, and with a fort I can build it up for the summer of 1942 to 4.1, and I don't want to waste these two elite divisions building capacity, so I'm just gonna build it up to level 4 as soon as possible. And oh right, yeah, I made an airdrop of supplies into this hex here at Kharkov because they had very, very bad supply, these two divisions here, and I had to fly all the way from Milerevo up to this Svoboda and then down here to drop the supplies. So I built a supply depot in Milerevo here so that I can drop a supply from here and don't have to fly through a staging airbase. I guess that was my logic. And I managed to drop down 32 tons of freight, even though there's no airbase in here. We encountered 8 BF-109s and they shot down 5 transports. But I checked my pool and I think I have 2 300 Li-2 transport planes. So the bottleneck for my transport capacity is actually the amount of units, air wings, not the planes themselves. So I was willing to risk it in the heavy rain. I kind of wanted to experiment with it. I think it would have been better to send into the airbase in Kharkov before I started moving, but I realized I wanted to do this after I just moved them. Yada yada. Kind of a, I know, kind of a hassle. But 5 transport planes. That's fine. That's fine. So anything else? Not really, I suppose. I suppose this was a rather quick turn. It's always a lot of micromanagement you can do with support units, etc. And here and there you have a very heavily fatigued frontline unit that you can pull back and rest and refit, and maybe, if you're lucky, have a fresh unit to replace it in the line. I really like to have 1 or 2 key change, what do you say, pocket change division behind the front line to replace heavily fatigued units. And in certain sectors of the entire front I now start to see the potential to do that, but in other places, no, everything's just tired, fatigued, retreating, being pushed back. And I especially think of the Kharkov sector around here when I think about that, and of course the northwestern front up there. Those are my main worries. For the German attacks on the beginning of turn 19, I do feel that the mud is going to be very, very beneficial to me. I haven't played a lot of campaigns this far, and not against an AI this strong. So I really don't know how much I mean, obviously the effect is going to be less than in clear weather. But is it going to be negligible, or should it be? Will it be? Is he still going to be able to hurt me? You know, I really think that the Germans should actually take the respite in the mud now to rest and refit, so he can have a bit of offensive capacity when the snow starts. I don't think the AI is going to be smart enough to do that. To be honest, there's a lot of parts of the front here where I think he maybe should have had pulled back and left a hex between me and his forces, because the attrition in the logistics phase, the non-combat losses, surely benefits the Red Army more than the German army. If you check out the losses for this turn, the Germans lose nearly 40,000 and the Soviets lose 60,000. Those are very good attritional odds for the Soviets versus the Germans here. So for right now, at least, things are working out fine for me. Alright, I think that's it. I have sent more forces to my different theater boxes here because I'm very tired of being unlucky and having events that cost me victory points and action points. So there is that. Alright, and with that, I think we're gonna stop this video, and I believe that the next thing you'll see is most likely going to be the Germans' attacks of the beginning of turn 19. If you made it to the end, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.